Hello, my parasocial friends. For the past week or so, along with the entire internet, I've been playing Diablo 4, and I gotta say, I'm having fun. But at some point, I realized that everything was getting too easy for me at World Tier 3, so I decided to just try the Nightmare Capstone dungeon because it said it had a level 70 recommended level clear. I was expecting to just be one shot by everything in the dungeon, but to my surprise I was clearing it with relative ease. So I decided to start recording it partway through because I thought to myself, holy shit, I can actually do this. I'm playing a barbarian. As you can see, I'm level 57. I'm not following any guides. I'm just doing what I think is best for the character. It's by far not a min-maxed character, as you will see at the end of the video, because I recorded my gear and my build after I cleared the dungeon. Well, the elites aren't dying in one hit, but I can kill them. So that's like the most important thing to me. Because getting to the highest tier allows you to drop ancestral items, which are the highest possible like rolls, I believe. I haven't done too much research on the game. Like, I've watched some videos of endgame play, but that's just because I wanted to see how the game plays at the end game. I believe that ARPGs are all about the end game. Like, leveling process is just get you into the game and start like compiling your build. And the end game is where the game really begins. And in my understanding, the current end game begins at World Tier 4. As you can see here, I'm clearing relatively normal speed. Like, nothing seems too difficult. Maybe I should talk about a little bit how this build works. If in any case it's unclear to you, the main skill I'm using for damage is Whirlwind. So the way I envisioned it to work is to maintain berserking as long as possible while whirlwinding. I'm using Leap because it's a very good initiator, like in a MOBA. For some reason there's another stone carving here on the ground. I don't know if that's a bug, but because you only need one. Anyway, I'm using Leap to generate Fury in order to start whirlwinding as soon as possible. battle cry allows me to maintain my berserking in case it starts running out. I mean, at this point in the game, right? Because this build is far from complete. It's gonna be looking completely different in the end game. Here I, for some reason, am leaving the champion with the damage reduction aura. What are you doing? It's still not dead. Come on, man. You can do it. Like, I am taking damage. It's not like I'm... Oh, here. The champion is dead, and so I can focus on the elites. I hate these mobs. This exact mob is the warlord. He's particularly annoying. Oh, and I died. That's the first death in this dungeon. I tried playing hardcore first, but for some reason Blizzard decided to release the game at 2 AM in my region, so I played until 4 AM, reached level 20, and another death. I gotta focus, because it's gonna get better. The checkpoints in Diablo 4 are weird. Sometimes I'm getting respawned right on top of the elites, and sometimes at the beginning of the dungeon I don't really understand them. It would be nice if the game said to you, like, checkpoint reached, so you know where you're gonna respawn. Of course that doesn't apply to hardcore characters. Anyway, so I played hardcore first because I wanted to participate in the race. I still could, technically, because I don't know if 1,000 people already reached level 100 on hardcore. But yeah, I played for 2 hours until like 4 AM. I started falling asleep and then I just died. So the next day I said, okay, I'm just gonna enjoy myself instead of try harding. Rallying cry is such a broken skill because it lasts for so long and it just makes you immune to any crowd control effects that it's absolutely, like, I think necessary for any build you're gonna do with a barbarian. At this point in time, the main weakness of this build is single targets. Like, if there's just a single target, I'm getting some fury problems. But it performs better if there's more enemies on the screen. Which is mainly the reason why I have the lunging strike still. I think it's important to do the Nightmare Capstone dungeon as soon as possible, because you're unlocking the ancestral items, but the ancestral items have a minimum level requirement of 60. So it's not necessarily the best to push the Nightmare Capstone dungeon before level 60. I would say that the 60 should be the recommended level for you. Not 70. So basically by doing this Capstone dungeon, at level 57, I completely skipped World Tier 3 because I did like 1 or 2 nightmare dungeons on World Tier 3, and now I can just gear up on World Tier 4 in Helltide and with the Tree of Whispers, and then just jump right into the Ancestral Nightmare Dungeons. The elixir I'm using here, I think it's like the one that gives armor and thorn, but I'm not completely certain. As you can see, Whirlwind Barbarian is just completely broken. This footage was recorded on the 5th of June. So any nerfs or patch notes after this date will apply. I mean, sorry, will not apply to this character. Let me know if the modifier that says +% damage to crowd-controlled enemies applies to slowed enemies, because I don't think it does. I think that crowd-controlled enemies are frozen, feared, and what else is there? Stunned. No, stunned is also a different parameter, because you can have a modifier that says plus damage to stunned enemies. So, crowd control. I don't know. Oh, almost died there. We're fine. This is fine. And here we are, approaching the final boss of the Nightmare Capstone dungeon. If you're enjoying this video, please consider subscribing. A friendly reminder. The final 2 elites. As you can see, single target, and my fury is just gone. And hello, Elias. Not dying in one hit, that's good. But the boss is dealing decent damage to me. but I also am dealing decent damage to him. And wrecked. Okay. No matter. Good for the first try. See, this is what I'm talking about, the checkpoints. Like, the final checkpoint should be at this point, right? So I'm teleporting back to the city to check if maybe the checkpoint will anchor itself to the teleport, the portal. And here we go. Second try. Let's see how it goes. Oh, also I'm using an incense, but incense only lasts until death, so... Good, dodge that. I really love the stagger mechanic because it's not explicitly stated anywhere, and I died again. Third time's the charm, right? What was I saying? The stagger mechanic. It isn't specifically stated anywhere, but your shouts. Oh, so I figured that I need a little bit more survivability because the boss can just one-shot me with this AoE attack. So let's see how it goes. Iron Skin is a completely busted ability because it can just replace your potion. And it gives you a barrier. And unlike the potion, you can use it preemptively. I'm starting to move away a little bit more from the boss. Killing the ads because they're annoying. Like, I'm taking my time. See, this is what I'm talking about. Stagger. I've heard a lot about how there's a lot... And I died again. I've heard a lot about how there's a lot of like damage that you cannot prevent, like auto attacks from mobs. Shouts are a great way to prevent that because they stagger the enemy and they just stop. They stop attacking you for like half a second. So I'm learning the patterns on this boss because I haven't done it yet and I haven't watched any footage. Because for the last week I've been playing the game and not really watching any footage. one of the reasons for that is that I don't really like spoiling the game for myself. Like, I like to figure stuff out on my own. I'm not saying I will not look up a guide for a build, because some classes I don't really know how to play, so I need to get a little bit, let's say, inspired. Ooh. Some attacks I haven't seen yet, so I'm a little bit more cautious. I'm gonna be so embarrassed if I go on the internet and find out that people have cleared the Nightmare Capstone dungeon at level 50 or 45. That I'm just gonna be... It's gonna be cringe. Is this the urn? And he's dead. And there you go. Level 57 Nightmare Capstone clear. Immediately after that I tried going to the final Capstone dungeon, but it didn't let me in. Now I'm gonna showcase my gear and my build, skill allocation. So as I've said, this build is not very min-maxed. None of my... some of my gear is reforged, but not a lot. I focused on getting as much as plus all stats on my gear as possible, and health. Anything else was just extra. Yeah, so the main focus is berserking, and the one point in bleeding slows enemies is to apply a slow. Because all damage I deal will apply bleeds from the expertise. Because I'm using the two-handed sword expertise. And that's it. Thank you for watching.